a.m. Okay. 2 minutes left. While we waiting for another participants to join, I want to kindly remind to all the participants, please don't forget to fill the attendance form that will be sent by our committee in the comment section. And okay, alhamdulillah, great, right? Okay. And then make sure that your Zoom display name already follow the required format, which is SC_name_country. And if everyone want to turn on your camera, don't forget to use the virtual background that we already prepared. Okay. Okay, it's already 9 a.m. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished lecturer, respected guests, and all of the participants. Welcome to the 5th days of 7th summer course program hosted by Faculty of Animal and Agricultural Sciences, Diponegoro University. And today, we will have a presentation session by Mr. Anjorin. But before that, to warm up ourselves, we already prepare a fun games that will be led by Bintang and also Edward. So I hope everyone will join this game because we already prepared it for you. Okay. So before that, Kianki, can you please share screen? Okay. We will wait the game.
Okay, thank you, Diba. Good morning, everyone. We're back again. Did you miss us already? Okay, so before we jump into the next session, let's take a short break and refresh our minds before we continue.
Okay. Yes, it is time for a fun little game to warm up our brains today. We call this game What Am I?
Okay, so how we play this game at work?
Here's how the games work. We'll read out a few clues describing an vegetables, fruit, or spices, and your job is to guess what is it.
Okay, if you know the answer, you can type your answer in the chat section. So, are you ready, guys? Let's try one wap brown.
Okay, the example. Okay. The first one, I'm sweet and I have a blonde hair. I also wear a green coat. Unfortunately, my life is short. What am I?
Okay, there is already someone who answered this question. So,
The answer is yes, of course. Everyone correct.
okay, next question. Okay, the clue is I look like a ball, but my skin has a nap. Inside I'm orange or light and clean. I'm juicy, sweet, and fine to bite. What am I? Okay, just type what the answer. Orange. Okay, someone answer orange, tomato, fruit.
What fruit?
What
With
fruit?
what fruit?
Andrew. Okay, someone says melon. Okay, what am I?
I am a melon.
Okay, next question.
Next question. I grow beneath the ground. My skin is brown, but inside I'm bright, golden, and bold. I color your teeth. I turn your food a bright yellow. What am I? What makes you yellow, guys?
Okay, someone already answered. Turmeric,
Okay,
potatoes.
and the answer is I'm a turmeric. Correct, guys.
Okay, next question. The clue is I'm brown and grow with spicy sweet smell. I can warm you. Sometimes I'm on your dessert and drink. What am I? Just guess whatever pops into your mind, guys.
Brown sugar,
Okay,
brown sugar.
paprika. Next. Guess what you think it could be. Okay, someone answer ginger, cinnamon. Okay, what am I?
And the answer is I'm a cinnamon.
Okay, let's jump question.
And then the next one, I'm a tiny and green, but just a little bit sip of me would make you do a funny expression because I'm sour and fresh. What am I?
Okay, someone already answered lime, lemon, lime.
In Indonesia, we know urut. Urut lime.
Okay, the answer is
Answer is
yes, I'm alive. Okay, next question. The clue is I'm speak on the outside, but sweet and yellow inside. I grow in tropical places and I wear a crown. What am I? Yes. No pressure, guys. Just guess what you're thinking. Okay, someone
Is it
answer
under
pineapple.
is it underwater? No. Yeah.
A cartoon.
Hmm.
Someone already answer
Okay.
pineapple. Spawn. Okay, the answer is
The answer is yes, correct. I'm a pineapple. And then the next one, I wear speaking. That could hurt you if you touch me. Some of people of me, but also hate me because how I smell. Inside, I am creamy and yellow. What am I?
okay. The comment section is already get the answer durian.
And the answer is
Yes,
yes, I like
durian.
durian.
Are
You
you
like
like
durian,
durian, guys? It's so
You like
good.
durian, Bintang?
Yes, I love so much durian.
Oh, you have durian tree and berkos ya. Next one.
Okay, next question. The clue is I wear green, red, and yellow jacket. I'm shaped like a chili, but I'm sweeter than your ex. What am I?
Your ex is not sweet, Bintang.
No. Okay,
What?
just guess from your imagination, guys. Anything goes. Okay, what am I, guys? Someone already answered paprika.
Red, green, yellow. I think you're Bob Marley, guys.
Okay,
The answer
someone already
is
paprika to add.
the answer is yes. I am a paprika.
Congrats, congrats.
Next, I'm a leafy and green. I grow in the plants. You'll find me in the salad. I have a fish grass. What am I?
Okay, just guess from your imagination, guys. Okay, someone already answered spinach. Vegetable. What's vegetables, Andrew?
Lot of
Romaine.
vegetable.
Okay, the question is Popeye love it at.
I think Popeye love olive. Yeah.
Lettuce. It is correct at.
And the answer is yeah, correct. Lettuce. Okay, the next one.
Okay, next one. The clue is I'm green inside and brown outside. With a big round seed, I hide. I'm soft to touch and good to eat. On toast or salad. I'm a treat. What am I? Okay. So fast. Someone already answered avocado. Is it avocado?
Avocado. And the answer is yes, correct. Avocado. Avocado. Okay, the next one. I hang up. I in a living room with a hard and brown cell. Crack me open. You'll find a tree, water to drink, and white flies to eat. What am I?
Okay, guys. Just say what was in your mind and type your answer. Okay, what am I? I don't overthink it, guys. Your answer.
Anyone type correct?
Okay, what am I?
Does anyone type correct?
Not yet, not yet.
Difficult. Sounds difficult. Yeah.
Oh, someone already answered coconut. Coconut, coconut,
Is
coconut.
it true?
Is it
Is it
correct?
Let, let me check. Come on, guys. The answer
The answer
is
is
yes. Correct. It's a coconut. Okay.
In Indonesia, we
We hit all of the part. Yeah. We use all the part.
yes, so many in here at.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's the last question. Thank you guys. You're really smart. Thank you for playing.
Okay, we hope this ice breaking can relax and recharge you everyone, guys. Let's continue our session with good vibes and energy.
Okay, all right. We'll return to the stage and the screen. Back to MC. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
All right, thank you, Edward and Bintang, and also all the participants that already joined with this game. I think everyone already recharged and ready to the next session. Okay, so after this, we are ready to begin our first lecture by Mr. Anjorin Ezekiel Adeyemi, PhD candidate from A&M Texas University, who will bring theme of sustainable agriculture and marketing distribution. Okay, I want to remind again to everyone, fill the attendance form that already shared in the comment section. Okay, so in this session, we would like to invite Mr. Agus Subhan Prasetya, PhD candidate from A&M Texas University. Hello, Mr.
hello.
Mr. Subhan. Okay, how are you, Mr.?
I'm good.
Okay, it's been a long time. You're not
Yeah.
here. Okay, so before we start, let's take a picture first, Mr. Subhan.
Okay.
Okay, so for all the participants, please, if you guys available to on your camera. please. Okay, please open the camera because we are gonna have a picture. So there is 3 slides. So we're taking a picture in every slide. I will count into 3. So everyone prepare and smile. Give us your brightest smile. Okay. I will count 1, 2, 3. Okay. Wait for the second slide. Okay. 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 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Next slide. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Subhan. Now the time is yours.
Okay, thank you for MC. Good morning, everyone, and good evening for speakers. Thank you so much for joining us in today's summer course program 2025. My name is Agusban Prasetyo, and you can call me Subhan. I'm honored to serve as the moderator for this session. Our topic today is sustainable agriculture and marketing distributions, a subject that is not only important globally, but also very relevant to our local context here in Indonesia, as well as for countries with similar characteristics to Indonesia. In 30 words, where we face challenges such as climate change, food insecurity, and market disruption, it is more crucial than ever to reassess how we produce, process, and distribute food. This session we will help us understand how sustainability in agriculture can go hand in hand with smart marketing system from farm to market, from local to global, with the help of digital tools, value chain, and community cooperation. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Mr. Anjorin Adeyemi. He is PhD, a candidate at Texas A&M University in Texas, the United States, with strong research experience in agriculture education and extension, climate smart agriculture, educational innovation using AI and technology, and sustainable food system and market distribution. He has conducted research in Nigeria, Japan, and the United States, bringing a global yet practical perspective to today's topics. Mr. Anjorin will speak for around 1 until 130 minutes. After that, we will open for questions. So please feel free to take notes and prepare your question. If you have a question, you can type in the chat or raise hand, and don't forget to mute the mic. And now let's welcome our speaker, Mr. Anjorin. The time is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Agus. Thank you, everyone. It's a great opportunity for me to be here today, and I'm so happy to be here. I love the games already. Yeah. By the way, I think I like coconuts and which other one? I don't like so many fruits, but at least I saw the one of coconut. Okay. So
How
thank
about
you.
the durians, Anjorin?
Do you what?
How about the durians?
What's durian?
Durians. Durian is tropical fruit, right?
Oh, okay. No, I think it's
No.
just coconut. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. So I don't know if I have the permission to share my screen.
Yes,
Okay.
you have to access.
Yes. Okay, just a moment. I'll share my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Okay.
Can you see my screen now, please?
Yes.
Yes,
Maybe you can
translate.
change the options because this is still not full screen.
Like
Okay, that's
this?
great. Yes, that's great.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you
Perfect.
so much. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. So today, I'll be talking for some minutes on sustainable agriculture and marketing distribution. And that was a great introduction, Agus. Yeah. So I hope it's going to be very engaging. Once again, my name is Anjor Ezekiel. I defended my PhD in May. So I graduate from my PhD next month. Yeah. Okay. So it's a great new phase that I look forward to. And like the introduction has already been done. I'm in the same department with Agus, Agricultural Leadership, Education and Communication at Texas A&M University. And so today, I really hope it's going to be a very interactive and very engaging class. Please, I know the questions have been pushed to the end of the class, but feel free to stop me at any time in case you don't understand any, or you have questions regarding a certain part. Okay. And so the overview, at the end of this class, what I hope we will be able to achieve is that we'll be able to understand, or the participant will be introduced to the interlinked dimensions of sustainable agriculture and marketing distribution. So if we're able to achieve this, by the end of this class, then I'll be the happiest person. Okay. And just to kind of give us an outline of what today's class will look like. So we're going to talk about, we have the introduction to know what essentially is sustainable agriculture. And then we'll talk about the concepts, the practices, and innovations in sustainable agriculture. We'll talk about market access and distribution. We'll talk about the value chains, the local to global markets, digital tools. We'll also talk about case studies from Indonesia. And that's where I really hope you're going to have a very engaging and interactive session. And then, of course, we have some activities and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so please, yeah, to start with, I want us to just participate in this. If you can scan this, I just want to hear your opinion. And it's like I don't want to say icebreaker, but we already had an icebreaker, right? So I just want to get your opinion on your. So when you hear the word sustainable agriculture, just one word. What is one word that comes to your mind? You can scan this. You can scan this and share what is one word that comes to your mind whenever you hear of sustainable agriculture. I'm going to share the other screen so that we can see as the answers are coming in. Yep, this I believe is going to show soon. Okay. Did we scan it already? Okay. Yeah. Can you see the screen where it's been displayed?
Yes.
Okay. So I can see someone said balance. Good. Another person said expensive. Okay. Another person said safe. Okay, that's good. Let's keep the answers coming. Resilience. That's great. Okay. Let's keep, I want all I think we are like, about 40, okay, 43. So at least I need like 41 or 42 answers here, okay? Balance, safe, important, okay? Environment, that's awesome. Okay? In case you need to go to the link I'll also put it in the chat box. Yes. Please keep the answers coming. So that's the link to the place. Expensive, resilience, balance, safe, environment, important, sustainable future. Okay, one word. Just one word. Okay. Regeneration. These are great. Future. Yeah, I like that. Future. Sustainable future, resilience, balance, environment, expensive, well planned. Okay. That's great. Let's keep the answers coming. I want technology. Okay. That's great. I want to see as many as possible. As many. Future, important technology, sustainable future, resilience, balance, environment, safe, regeneration, expensive, well planned. Okay. Another one just came in, and that's innovation. Okay. That's great. We have just for this activity, we have just 1 minute left. So if you have not yet imputed your answers, please, I'll still love to see your answers, please. Innovation, sustainable future, resilience. There's no right or wrong answer, actually. Yeah, there's no right or, so feel free to just give your input. Oh, okay. I can see some people are also dropping their comments in the chat. Some people say food, innovation, difficult, consideration, stewardship. Okay, that's all good. Thank you. Okay, you can still impute, but for the sake of time, I'd like to continue back to the slide so that we can, I'll keep more of this so that we can, yeah. Just a moment, I'm sharing my screen again. Is this the correct, Agus? Is this the correct display?
No, maybe you can another
Okay,
setting.
swap.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, so from, like I said, there's no right or wrong answers when you think about sustainability, because the way we conceive sustainability is different for each and every one of us. So all the wonderful answers you've given, they are very lovely. Future, that's what you're going to see in the next couple of slides, that sustainability talks about the future. What is the current world population? I think we are gradually approaching like 8 billion, 9 billion. Now, so look at it. How are we going to feed the 9 billion people on the face of the earth? How? Do we have to fast some more? Do we have to tell some people, oh, you don't eat? Or how can we feed the 8-point-something billion people? And so that's what sustainability is talking about. That's what sustainability is talking about. Okay, so let's go. Yeah. So when we talk about sustainable agriculture as a concept, it kind of started, of course, people have been advocating for sustainability, sustainable agriculture, but the time it really became, or it began to gain traction, became more and more popular. It started with actually a book that was written by Rachel Carson in 1962. And the title, you can check the book out. It called, the title of the book is Silent Spring. And in that book, she talked about the harmful effects of pesticides on the environment. So most times when you trace back the origin of sustainable agriculture as a concept, most authors agree that it can be traced back to this book, where she talked about, no, we need to find a way to balance between the use of pesticides and chemicals and the harm it does. Of course, there are a lot of controversies and a lot of debates around sustainable agriculture, and there will always be debates, right? So, but after that, in the 1970s, Wes Jackson and Robert Dale, they popularized the word sustainable agriculture. And in 1987, the Brundtland Commission, working on one of the reports of the United Nations, was when they coined the word, sustainability, which was a global vision. And then sustainable agriculture became a subset of what you call the sustainability drive, especially by countries all over the world. I just felt we need to have a background that. So when we talk about sustainable agriculture, it's not just something that started today. It's been around for some time. And so it's important for us to know exactly when we talk about sustainable agriculture, what are we talking about? You see, that's why I wanted to get your opinion. That's why I wanted to get your own definition in one word of what sustainable agriculture is. And according to the USDA, that's the United States Department of Agriculture, that, their definition, sustainable agriculture is an integrated system of plant and animal production practices. Integrated system. I want you to take note of that. It is integrated. It is not standing alone. It is integrated. So when I have a farm, when you have a farm, or as a scientist, when you work with farmers, how can you help the farmers? Or how can you work with the farmers to have the integration of all the different components of their farm to become a system? That's what sustainability talks about. And so it is an integrated system. When you talk about system, it's just like when you have a laptop computer, you have the keyboard, you have the monitor, you have the charging point. They are all components of that system. But everything works together. And that essentially is what sustainable agriculture is talking about, that you have to have an integration. When you, for example, apply input, what is the consequence on the environment? And then so the next thing, according to that definition, is that it has a site-specific application. And the essence of this is that different countries are going to have different requirements for the agricultural practices. Different countries, because we have different climates, and even within the country, we have different microclimates. So what is applicable in probably northern Indonesia may not be applicable in southern Indonesia, because there are going to be microclimate. And that is why sustainable agriculture is site-specific. It's not one cap fits all. And then this site-specific application would, over the long time, do 5 things. So sustainable agriculture, number 1, is an integrated system. Number 2, it is site-specific. It means the fact that it worked in Malaysia does not mean it will work in Indonesia. The fact that it works in Indonesia does not mean it's going to work in the Philippines. The fact that it works in the Philippines does not mean it will work in another neighboring country. And that is why sustainable agriculture has to be site-specific, right? And bringing all of this together on the long term, take note again of the long term. Many times when people go into sustainable agriculture, they want to see the benefits now. But that is what happens in conventional agriculture. In sustainable agriculture, you don't see the impact immediately. And that is why I guess someone imputed, it says expensive. We're still going to come to that, right? And so there are going to be 5 things on the long run that will happen when you go into sustainable agriculture. Number 1, you're going to be able to satisfy human, food, and fiber needs. Human, food, and fiber needs. Secondly, you're going to be able to enhance environmental quality and the natural resource base upon which the agricultural economy depends. Environmental quality. The third thing is that you're going to make efficient use of non-renewable resources. For example, water. Water is a non-renewable. It's sometimes we think we have too much water, but the fact remains that water is actually it can, in many parts of the world, water can be exhausted. And so how do we continue to produce while still being able to have enough water for agricultural and non-agricultural purposes? That is what sustainable agriculture talks about. And then the fourth thing is it's going to sustain the economic viability. And this is one of the things many times we don't talk about enough. That embedded within the framework of sustainable agriculture is the fact that the farm must also be economically viable. The farmer must still be able to produce and continue to produce. If not, the purpose is defeated. And so within the framework of sustainable agriculture, there is also economic viability of the farm. And lastly, sustainable agriculture must enhance the quality of lives for the farmers and the society. So you can see that sustainable agriculture is quite holistic. It talks about the environment, it talks about the farmers, and it talks about the society. And so as we go forward in this class today, I want you to keep that at the back of your mind, that sustainable agriculture caters for everybody. Sustainable agriculture has everyone in mind, okay? And so this is just a kind of a diagrammatic representation of what sustainable agriculture is all about, right? It's environmental health. How do we ensure that we are not polluting the environment? How do we ensure that we are not adding too much toxins to the soil? How do we ensure that the farming activities, it's not harming the health of the soil? The next, framework or the pillar, second leg, is economic profitability. The farmers must be able to, economically sustain their operations. And then the third one is social and economic equity. And this talks about, just like, we talked about the society, it is not just bringing in money, but there are other aspects of the farmer's life, of the society, must also be improved in sustainable agriculture. And so let's get down to the specifics now. When we talk about sustainable agriculture in practice, the ones that we've seen, right? So we talked, again, I already mentioned these at the beginning of this class. I said integrated farming systems. And what is integrated farming system? This essentially is where every component, livestock production, crop production, fisheries, different aspects are designed from the beginning to complement each other. Integrated farming systems, such that the waste product, for example, if you are into crop farming, the end product after harvesting, how can you reintegrate that back into your farming system? That's what we simply mean by integrated farming system, where everything works as a system and helps to protect the soil health, helps the farmer economically, and also helps, produces more food for the people. And so another thing that you can see as a sustainable practice or sustainable agriculture that you can see every day when you talk about soil health and management. And under this, for example, you're talking about conservation tillage. And this is simply, as you may probably know, conservation tillage is where the farmer, or some people call it zero tillage or no-till, where minimal disturbance is done to the surface of the soil. And as such, you're able to conserve the nutrient because there are some volatile nutrients in the soil. that every time there's tillage, there's disturbance, and those volatile nutrients, due to, for example, nitrogen immobilization, it can actually happen and cause the nutrients to be lost. And so some examples of sustainable agriculture is conservation tillage or no tillage. Also, there's organic amendment, where you incorporate like manure and other, organic fertilizers to the soil. Also, there's cover crops and green manuring. And you already know cover crops, there's a way they protect the soil. They help the soil keep and retain nutrients and water, and also smother weeds. In other words, because they grow above the weeds, there's every tendency that the weeds do not have sufficient sunlight. As such, the chemicals being used is greatly reduced. And also part of the sustainable agriculture under soil health, when you talk about soil testing and nutrient balancing, in other words, before you even go into agriculture, before you go into the planting, specifically, this is talking about crop production, before you go into the crop production, you already carried out tests. And so you're able to determine specifically what are the nutrient deficiencies. Is it nitrogen? Is it phosphorus? Which of the essential nutrients is deficient in that soil? And by determining that, the quantity of fertilizer, that is, even if you're going to use chemical fertilizer, the quantity is not going to be irrational. It's going to be based on the deficiencies that you've identified in the soil testing. And so these talks about, again, going back to the word integrated, it means every step builds on the other. And then another sustainable agricultural practice you can see every day is agroforestry. And this simply talks about the incorporation of trees into the agriculture. And so these trees, usually that grow tall, they can provide some form of shade and protect the soil, depending on the kind of crop grown, protect the soil from the direct impact of the sunlight. And so not just that, there are also, the leaf falls can provide some form of organic nourishment when they decay and mix up with the soil. So agroforestry is also another one. Then integrated pest and disease management. And this simply talks about trying as much as possible not to use chemical pesticides or in the control of pests or in the control of diseases. Trying to look for alternatives, trying to look for maybe plant extracts. There are quite a number of research on effective plant extract. For example, Azadirachta indica, which is neem. The extract in some research have been found to effectively control pests depending on the crop type, right? And so when we talk about sustainable agriculture, this integrated pest management, it can also involve in the use of natural predators to control the pests. And so essentially, this is saying trying as much as possible. Of course, we know it's going to vary by country, from country to country, and based on the scale of production. But essentially, these are the basics or the practices you can see every day. Again, another form of sustainable agricultural practice is one you call precision efficient water management. Like I said at the beginning, water everywhere, but not enough for everyone to drink, right? Water is a commodity that is needed by every facet of the society. There is home consumption, home usage of water for daily household activities. The industries, they also use water. Agriculture also needs water. So how do you balance this distribution of water? How do you ensure every country, every sector of the country, every sector of the society, they have the right kind of water they need? And that is what it's talking about, efficient water. And so it has been discovered that, for example, in agriculture, we waste a lot of water, especially in the form of irrigation. So how can we become more efficient in our water usage? How can we integrate? And that is when issues like in irrigation, many people have talked about, instead of using flood irrigation or or maybe sprinklers, why don't we use drip irrigation, depending on the type of crop? Of course, different crops require different quantity of water. We understand that, right? So it is important that efficient management of water is integrated. Already some parts of the world are already experiencing drought, and especially under the climate change impact, it's becoming more and more obvious that we need to develop a better system of managing water more efficiently for our agricultural purposes. And then there's the next one called precision agriculture. And this precision agriculture, again, someone in the activity we had, someone said innovation, technology. This is again coming to play here. In precision agriculture, we want to be it's just like the name, precision. We want to be as precise as possible. We want to be precise as possible in every aspect. And that's what the research is all about. We want to be precise in the quantity of water that the crops are using, that the animals are taking. We want to be precise in the sunlight. We want to be precise in every aspect of our production, farming activity or farming production cycle. And so that is why there are several technologies, for example, like the use of GIS, GPS is able to help us calculate. And there are a lot of research opportunities in those places. And lastly, by the way, this is not an exhaustive list. There are many other things that can actually, you might have seen as sustainable agriculture. Okay, and so finally is the use of renewable energy use. There are various forms of renewable energy. For example, solar is renewable, wind is renewable. But again, we must also be cognizant of the fact that these things are expensive, right? But these are potentials that can help us conserve and still stay in production while doing little to minimal damage to the agricultural industry. Okay, so I have a second activity. It's not the same. It's not the same link. It's a different link. Please scan this. What sustainable agricultural practice have you seen in your environment, or which one is of interest to you? It's possible it's among the ones I've listed above, the ones I've just talked about, or there's one that you're really passionate about. So which of these sustainable agricultural practices do you think is the most important to you that you really want to pursue? So I don't want to just be the only one talking. You can scan. I've posted a link, and I would like to also see your responses too. I'll share the screen and see. I'll share the screen now so that we can see. Okay. Are we putting in the answers already? You can also drop it in the comment box. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. Which sustainable agricultural practice have you seen or that you're passionate about, that you like to see? Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Oh, that's great. I can see quite a number. I can see quite a number of them. Great. Okay, so can you see my screen, Agus?
Yes, perfect.
Mr. Yeah, okay, yeah. Great. So I can see precision agriculture, crop rotation, traditional farming, hydroponic with aquaponic, rainwater harvesting. Awesome. Low carbon rice, crop residues as feed. Great. Integrated agriculture, organic farming, natural fertilizer, IPM, integrated pest management. Awesome. Biocharcoal, renewable energy sources, precise agriculture, integrated, organic, low carbon rice. Awesome. These are excellent. I can see there are still some in the chat box. Traditional farming, soil and water conservation, semi-arid farming, crop rotation, renewable energy, precision. These are awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Natural fertilizer, biogas, smart agriculture, filter household. These are awesome. Excellent. Excellent. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. These are awesome. 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 Okay. So now let's go back to our presentations. Okay. Just a moment. Okay. I have to, it's like I have to always swap. Okay. Thank you for those wonderful comments. Now, why is sustainable agriculture important? Why is it important? We've seen what sustainable agriculture is. You've listed some of the sustainable agricultural practices you have either seen or that you are interested in. You've talked about biogas, you've talked about renewable energy, you've talked about traditional farming. Great and excellent. But the question is why? Why is it important? Number one is food security. I've already told you, right, that the population of the world is going to 9 billion. I don't know if I'm not so sure of the figure now. How are we going to feed 9 billion people? Do we keep expanding the total land area under cultivation or become more efficient with the same land or just a little above that? In other words, are we talking about technical efficiency or we are talking about productive efficiency? How can we feed this growing population while imbibing innovation? At the bottom line of sustainable agriculture is feeding the billions of people in the world. I come from Nigeria. Sub-Saharan Africa, for example, has been identified as the region with the fastest growing population. But it's also been identified in Sub-Saharan Africa as being areas that is prone also to food insecurity. So how can the whole world, the leaders, the agricultural scientists in the Sub-Saharan Africa, in other parts of the world, how can we all work together to feed people in areas that are prone to natural disasters, in areas where you cannot grow traditional crops? How can we work? So the importance of sustainable agriculture, the first thing is food security. Food security. And when we talk about food security, according to the United Nations, there are 4 to 5 dimensions of food security. Number one is availability. And when you talk about availability, you're talking about physical access. Can the people access it? Is the food available for them in the first instance? That is the first dimension of food security. The second dimension beyond availability is accessibility. And this talks about, can they afford to pay for it? That is the second dimension of food. So most times, we just say, oh, food security. But we are not talking about the same thing. It's possible the food is physically available, but economically, the people cannot purchase it. And so when we talk about food security, it must be available, it must be accessible. The third dimension of food security, again, availability, accessibility. Does it contain the right nutrients? The nutrient, the nutritional content of this food. Okay, yes, it's available, it's accessible, but how rich is this food? Are people getting the right nutrient they require from this food? And then the last one, if I'm to stop at the number 4, accessibility, availability, nutrient utilization. That's ability to use the nutrient. And then, is it available every time? For you to say that the whole world is food secure, these elements must be there. Not just that you are secure today, tomorrow you are constantly. Do you have access to this? So that's the first importance of sustainable agriculture. The second is environmental protection. There's so much going on around the world in terms of pollution. Again, there is a lot of politics around. Do we feed the people using chemicals? Using pesticides and all those, which have greatly contributed to the growing population and help to feed, but at what expense? And then another importance of sustainable agriculture is the climate change mitigation, which is the reduction of greenhouse gases. In some studies, which have also been contested, by the way, in some studies, it's been said that the entire agriculture enterprise contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions, either in the form of the methane gases. And so sustainable agriculture finds a way to mitigate, to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. And then another importance of sustainable agriculture is resource efficiency. How can farmers better apply their resources? How can they better allocate? If I know, for example, that adopting integrated pest management is going to help me cut down on costs, isn't it a better decision for me to move towards integrated pest management than to keep buying? So it's like a win-win. I'm protecting the environment and I'm also better allocating my resources. And so that's another importance of sustainable agriculture. And then the preservation of ecosystems. The ecosystems, plants, the faunas and the flora, we need them. But every time we distort this balance in the ecosystem, again, someone said when you talk about sustainable agriculture is balance. So you can see what sustainable agriculture does is balance in the ecosystem. Balance, okay? And so we can also, as a build up on that, we can talk about the advantages and benefits. Advantages and benefits of sustainable agriculture. We can talk about enhanced crop yields. We can talk about improved soil health. Because remember, the future generations are going to also need a land to grow their own crops. They are going to need a land farmland to be able to raise their own animals. And so that's what we are leaving them a farmland, healthy enough to also produce for their own sustenance. Economic resilience, reduced environmental impact, soil carbon sequestration, and which is essentially how to trap the carbon here and make it usable, utilizable by the plants or the crops, rather than releasing it into the atmosphere where it eventually, does some form of damage to the ozone layer. Then improve water management, and then biodiversity conservation. And lastly, I will just dwell on healthier, safer food. I'm sure you know right now that there are several studies that have been carried out that discover that day after day, more chemicals are finding their way into the food we eat. Not necessarily good. And there's been several studies that are linking the food we eat to the kind of diseases we are beginning to see. And so sustainable agriculture is for the good of everyone. How can we reduce the quantity of chemicals going into our food? Okay. And then, of course, it goes without saying that sustainable agriculture also has its own challenges. It has its own, number one, the transition period. So if you've been practicing conventional agriculture that is intensive, chemical intensive, and all of that, it takes a significant period of time for you to successfully transition from that kind of conventional agriculture to sustainable agriculture. But first, the thing we need as a farmer, as a scientist, as agriculturist, is that we need a mindset that is different. A mindset that says, yes, I'm not just doing it for myself, I'm doing this for the posterity of generations to come. Also, there's the issue of initial cost. And that's why someone said expensive. You see, at the beginning of the class, someone said, that is very true. Sustainable agriculture is expensive, especially for small-scale farmers, smallholder farmers. And all over the world, especially in developing countries, smallholder farmers are the backbone of the agricultural industry. This is different from most developing countries. For example, in the United States, less than 2% of the population feed 98% of the population. But if you go to developing countries, the reverse is the case. 65 to 70% of the population cannot even sufficiently feed the whole country. So how do you ask people in those people who are into subsistence agriculture, how do you ask them to transition to sustainable agriculture? You see, so it doesn't mean that sustainable agriculture is going to be easy. No, it's just that on the long run, it's for the better of everyone. And then the yield variations, the fact that you practice sustainable agriculture for some crops does not mean they will all equally increase in yield. That's a reality. There are some crops that under sustainable practices, minimal use of chemical fertilizers, zero tillage or no tillage, they are still going to give you a bountiful harvest and yield, but it's not the same thing for all the crops. For all, it's not the same. Some crops by their what do you call it? By their morphology or by their design, they have to, by their physiology, they have to use all those kind of chemicals. So knowing which and where to balance is very important. And then knowledge and education. And this is where personally my role as an agricultural educationist, as an agricultural extension person is very important, because until the farmers, until the government, until the consumers, until everyone knows the importance of sustainable agriculture. Again, sustainable agriculture is not just telling farmers to not use pesticide. No, no, no. Sustainable agriculture, remember, has three pillars: the environment, the economy, and social. Those are the three dimensions of sustainable agriculture. But it takes knowledge and education. And that is where more and more, in a case where these crops do not require heavy use of chemicals, how can we educate the farmers? How can we educate the policymakers? Because sometimes even the policymakers may not really know what is supposed to be, and that's why they make some laws that they make. How can we educate every stakeholder involved? And that's a challenge to you. And then market demand and certification. This is another thing, because remember, profitability, keeping the farmer in the farming business is one of the goals, is one of the aims of sustainable agriculture. But what happens when those involved in conventional agriculture have more buyers, have ready markets than those who are engaged in sustainable agriculture? How do we compensate them? If they cannot go large scale the way conventional farmers are producing, how can we compensate them? These are questions that are worthy of research. How can we balance off in terms of their cost of production? And then pest and disease management. Yes, I have mentioned integrated pest management, integrated disease management, but are these 100% effective the way a chemical pesticide or herbicide? Are they 100% effective? Are they even 50% as effective as this chemical chemical pesticides and herbicides? And if they are not, what can we do? Can we have a balance somewhere in between? Right? So these are questions and these are challenges of sustainable agriculture that, as you are, in the field, these are challenges that you can begin to look towards providing solutions to. And then lastly, limited suitability for certain crops or region. Again, I've already talked about this. It's not every crop, it's not every region of the world that can practice sustainable agriculture. In the in the broadest sense of it, there are some countries that the only crop that goes there, they are high water dependent, high water utilizing crops. So how do you tell people to reduce the water when these crops themselves demand the water? And so knowing the balance, that is where I always stand whenever I teach this to my students. Okay, so I know the questions are at the end of the class, but now there's no breakout room, so there's no problem. I just want us to, maybe 3 people, I want us to discuss the challenges. I looked at in Indonesia. Indonesia is famous for rice, for oil palm tree, and cocoa. Now, what do you think are the biggest challenges to the sustainable cultivation or sustainable agriculture involving rice in Indonesia, involving oil palm tree in Indonesia, and cocoa in Indonesia? So you can unmute your mic, you can raise your hand, and I would like to hear from you. What do you think are you can decide to choose anyone, just one. What do you think are the biggest barriers, the biggest challenges to the sustainable cultivation of rice, oil palm tree, and then cocoa? Anyone can go first, please. Anybody yet?
Maybe still think about that.
Okay, okay. All right. So I'll give some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can drop your answers in the chat. What do you think are the in the chat? You can unmute your mic. You can I had wanted it to be a breakout room and then you come back but don't worry about that. Let's just what do you think are the biggest challenges to the sustainable agricultural practices or sustainable cultivation of rice, oil palm, and cocoa? What would be the biggest challenge? You can drop your answers in the chat. Anybody yet?
Okay, maybe perhaps the committee or bodies can help to create groups, breakdown for the groups to discuss
Oh,
about it.
okay. Okay, okay. That would be great. We can just have like 6, 7 minutes for that, and then you come back here and report. I think I should have just informed you earlier. So one group will be for rice, one group. So group one, whichever group is that group one is rice, group two is oil palm, and group three is cocoa. And the question is, what are the biggest challenges to the sustainable agricultural practices involving rice, oil palm, cocoa? And just one solution that you recommend. Okay.
Okay, that's great.
And we have just like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. And then when you come back, one person will come, okay. One person will report.
Okay, the bodies or committee already making the break room.
Okay,
That's
thank
great.
you very much. Yeah. For those who are still here, I believe you can still join your breakout room to have the conversation.
Yeah, some participant already joined it on the break room.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah.
You can wait 7 minutes, right?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
and Jorin. You can also enter the break room to check their discussion. And after that, we can leave for the break room, come back to the main zone.
How do you do that?
You choose break
Okay,
room, you choose
okay,
break
okay,
rooms, and you can
okay.
choose
Yeah.
everything in the groups and enter the group and checks for the discussion. Edward, can you return all participants to the back main Zoom?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, process.
Okay,
Soon go to the main room.
okay, that's good.
Welcome back, everyone. I can see there are some people that are still 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I hope you had a great time in your breakout rooms. I stopped by in all the 3 groups, and I believe you guys had a very great discussion in the different groups. Okay, so which group would like to go first? It doesn't have to be so complex or complicated, just anyhow you want it. You can make it as simple as possible. You can make it as detailed as possible. It just depends on what you. There's no rule to this. I just want to see and I want to hear your opinion, right? Okay.
Okay, maybe we can first with group 3.
Which of them is group 3?
I think Siti Julia already to share for the Google Docs, right?
Okay. So is that Rise, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
we
yeah.
talk about topic rice.
Okay. Who's want to explain for the answer?
Maybe Sister Fatihah Nurul Fajri. They're
Okay.
from
No.
group 3 also.
Please,
You
please open the
better
mic and
Siti
video.
Julia.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, maybe
better you.
yeah, maybe we have change ya, Kak.
Okay.
Me and then you, but I think
Okay.
you first. It's okay, yeah.
Okay. Can
Okay.
you open the camera?
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good.
Okay. We'll share our discussion about the challenge of rice farming in Indonesia, Mister. Okay. This first one is from Shuki. Since Indonesia, third largest producer of rice worldwide, variability in yield could affect the national economy. And the solution from Shuki, slowly transition to sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agriculture method starting from conventional agriculture, doing mass production on monoculture farming to smaller farmers. The problem is not enough to incentive and education are being provided to small or private farmers for this transition, and some mass producing industries don't want to invest more money for this transition. Or maybe from Shuki, Mr. Shuki, Mr. or Miss, sorry, I forget. You want to talk? You want to give some from your idea, Mr. Shuki? Not yet. I think that's about it. Okay. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
from Sarah. Sarah, you want to tell something to us? Or maybe from me, Mister. I think in Indonesia there are some farmers use excessive amount, a huge or a big amount of chemical fertilizer, which degrade soil quality. That is very dangerous for soil itself. So the solution, there are we can promotion balance fertilization by combining organic and chemical fertilizer. Maybe the extension role or the extension staff from they can bring it and support by farmer education and soil testing to ensure appropriate nutrition application. Maybe it's from me. From another person, maybe from Miss Hidayah or Miss Siti.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Fatiha, for the first. So for me, if the challenges rise in Indonesia, for farmers, maybe heavy depends on water and weather. Because there are climate change, unpredictable season, like now, there are sunny or rainy. This put farmers and harvest at serious risks, and the solution from me and then from the farmers in my village, maybe there are water saving irrigation, climate change resilience, and then the most famous here is fertilizer household wastewater. So yeah, from the household using like installation of wastewater being the water base for the farmers. So the next is from Mutia. Miss Mutia, could you? Okay, it's okay, Sister Hidayah. So from Sister Mutia, the opinion, the limited access to resources and knowledge. Because the smallholder farmers often lack access to credit, modern agriculture tech, and knowledge obtain sustainable farming practices. The solution is strengthening farmer institution and existential service, also enhancing access to quality inputs and financial support. And the last second is from Ino and Fatia. Some farmers tend to stick with the traditional method and are least likely want to use a different approach due to the complexity of the procedures. Solution is develop a simple plan about the sustainable agriculture practice and educate them about its importance, because rice itself is one of the Indonesian staple commodity. So from Fatia, limited access to modern technology, small scale often lack access to machinery, improve seeds and irrigation system. Yeah, that's all from our team, Mr. Agus and Mr.
Thank you so much.
Anjorin.
Yeah, those are so lovely. Thank you so much. I can see you had a very great and productive discussion. Thank you. Mr. Aguz, which group is going next?
Okay, how about this Sarifa? Sarifa is from group 1 or 2? Because on the chat, he give the answer about,
Okay.
I don't know what's that.
Yeah, I think it's okay if even if it's just one problem and one solution, it's still
Yes,
okay too.
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay too. Yeah. Hey.
Sharifa, are you there?
Oh, sorry. I'm from the same group as Siti Jualia and also Fatika.
Oh, okay, it's same. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Group 1, maybe? Go ahead. Who's Bintang Salma in group 1, right?
Group 2, Mr.
Oh, group 2. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I'm the representative of Group 2, and we would like to present the main problem and solution for the cocoa commodity in Indonesia. Okay, so in Indonesia, many cocoa trees are old and no longer productive. And then cocoa plants need regular and consistent watering. However, in many cocoa farming areas, there is no proper irrigation system. So farmers still depend heavily on rainfall, which is becoming less predictable due to climate change. So our solution is improve watering and irrigation system. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's wonderful. By the way, my dissertation I worked on cocoa, and Indonesia is also one of the countries where I interviewed some experts. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. Okay. The last group, oil palm in cocoa. I mean, in Indonesia. Mm.
Who's one from group 1?
Yeah, so we actually already choose our representative of the group. We have
Okay.
Ahmad Ali.
Okay.
Ahmad Ali, are you possible to talk? Oh, I think he can talk, so I'm just gonna take over.
Okay.
Okay. As an Indonesian itself, I know that the main problem that causing by the palm plantation is that deforestation, because the palm tree need a huge land to be planted, so it causes deforestation, and also it causes the air and water pollution, also climate change and loss of biodiversity. And one of the solution that can be do is reforestation. I think that's all about what we
Okay.
discuss.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Those are such wonderful contributions. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. Means the future of Indonesian agriculture is safe in your hands. You guys are doing great. Okay, so quickly, I know I have very few minutes left. So I'll just talk about marketing. Now we've talked about sustainable agriculture. Now we talk about marketing distribution. In essence, we want to talk about in this other half of the class today, how can sustainable marketing and distribution improve access, income, and food system resilience? So that's what we're talking about now. And under this, we're going to be talking about the value chains. We're going to be talking about inclusion, integrative or integrated inclusion. We're going to be talking about digital tools. We're going to talk about post-harvest handling, and we're going to talk about market integration. Okay, and So if we start with the value chain, which is an integral component, for example, by the way, value chain refers to all activities that increase the value of the agricultural commodity as it moves from one point to the other. Value chain is different from supply chain. Value chain talks about what value addition is being added to the agricultural commodity. Supply chain talks about only the movement along the chain. Value chain talks about the transformation, the value addition that happens. And so when we talk about value chain analysis, we're talking about starting from the inputs, production, aggregation, processing, marketing, and consumption. And so, for example, what are the value addition opportunities? For example, on-farm processing. Instead of, having this warehouse, how can farmers have a small form of processing right at their own farm, like drying, packaging? Then there's branding and storytelling, especially when you talk about origin labels. In other words, where this is coming from. That is still part of value addition. And what are the leverage points? It doesn't have to be big for it to be effective. The farmers can have small, cost-effective changes that can create a big impact. Remember that when you talk about sustainability, it's not necessarily talking about size. It's talking about even the tiniest effort also making some changes. For example, we know that if the storage process is improved, there's going to be less spoilage and the prices are going to get better, right? So another thing we can talk about is under marketing, market access barriers. What are the market access barriers that farmers face? For example, infrastructure. Maybe that may not be a challenge in Indonesia, but in a number of developing countries, for example, not all the farmers have access road to their farms. And what that does is that it makes it impossible. It makes it impossible for the farmers to be accessed in a timely manner. Then transportation cost. If the farmers cannot be accessed easily because of infrastructure limitation, it will increase the cost of transporting, and they will put this cost on the consumers. There's also the information gap. Sometimes the farmers do not have access to the real-time data, weather, price, and that is where we all as researchers, as you can go into the field and be able to provide this solution. How can farmers have access to real-time data? And then volatility of the market. The price can go up today and crash the next day. How do farmers make profit when that kind of thing happens? And that is where farmers must have access to prediction tools that can help them monitor. And then inclusive marketing models. For example, you can have farmers cooperatives, you can have public-private partnership, you can have social enterprises. For example, I read online, I saw that there's cocoa cooperative in Sulawesi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Sulawesi, then there's rice cluster in Central Java. These are good examples of include marketing models that are sustainable. Also, the use of digital innovations. For example, you can help the farmers with mobile apps, phone apps, smartphone apps that can help them but monitor the prices as they change. They can also be able to do direct farm to consumer delivery. As such, they're able to eliminate sometimes the long chain of middlemen they have, and then they're able to coordinate the logistics better. I was also reading again, and I found that Tiny Hub, unfortunately, I think it has already closed, but I learned that Tiny Hub wanted to solve this kind of problem, and so they started a company, but the one that is still currently working, Sayo Box, is an Indonesian company that delivers directly from the farmers to the consumer. So those are the kind of initiatives. And then we have also another marketing strategy, post-harvest management and food loss. What are the common causes of post-harvest losses? Due to heat, moisture, and pest, poor packaging, and transportation conditions. How can we overcome this? You can have cold storage units at a community level. Remember, this is sustainable marketing. At the community level, better handling. How can we have more climate-friendly, climate-smart packaging, produce packaging stuffs? Then value addition, like drying, pickling, or juicing perishables, and then mobile processing. Also, finally, export management integration. Export, for example, ASEAN and EU, they demand, there's huge market for huge demand for Indonesian products to the European Union, to North America. But usually the demand is for high quality that must meet certain requirements. One of such requirements is SPS, sanitary and phytosanitary compliance. And so this is where the farmers can also take advantage of this. Then consistent quantity and quality. You must be able to guarantee those who are buying from you that there will be consistent supply. And then traceability. They must be able to trace where the produce are coming from. And it is this place where the government is needed. The government needs to support the farmers. The government needs to support the extension agents. And then also the cooperatives too can work together in this direction. So, well, I would have wanted us to do this, but I can see my time is far gone. So we won't do the second activity. Now, remember that this, in conclusion, I saw this quote and I really loved it. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. Remember this. Yes, our ancestors gave us, but remember that the future generation, how we take care of the environment, of the farmland, will determine what the future, how healthy the future generation will eat. Okay, and so with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you, everyone. And I would like to take your questions. And for additional resources, I have some additional resources. And thank you once again for the opportunity. And I would like to take your questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Anjorin, for that rich and informative presentations.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's time for Q&A. I saw, wait, Andrew from Nigeria.
Yes.
Please open. Okay, go ahead.
Audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, my background is a little dark. I could pass supply to I want to thank the lecturer for insightful presentation.
I think
Thank you so
your
much.
audio is breaking a little.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's more clear.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Hello, Andrew.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, okay, we can hear you now.
Fine. Okay, thank you for your presentation once again, because some of the things you mentioned, I'm hearing some of them for the first time today. My question is this, and it's so interesting that you are from Nigeria too. The issue of climate change affecting agriculture. It's a serious matter, as we have seen between the farmers and herders clash. And this is going to be affecting sustainable agricultural practices in Nigeria. On one hand, we could see that the subsistence farmers are being affected when there is open grazings. Their land, as it is today, some farmers cannot even go to farm because of the herders clash with micro farmers. If you have to the news, they can't go to their farms anymore. So you see that food security is threatened in that area. And then the herders are also complaining that the northern part of the country is affected by climate change. So they want to move down south where the vegetation is still green. How do you balance this? What do you think is your own perspective, your proposed solution to this matter? Because politically, the government is talking about ranching, and then some other area aspect are also looking at open grazing. These two factors are being discussed side by side today. What's your proposal? What's your perspective, sir? Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Andrew is actually asking a question that pertains to Nigeria because there's a clash between the herdsmen, like the pastoralists, the nomadic farmers and the crop farmers. The nomadic farmers move from the north to the south in search of green pasture, while the crop farmers grow their crop. And in the process, this has led to serious loss of lives and serious conflict. Unfortunately, I mean, when I was teaching my student last semester, I was surprised when one of the students told me that even in Texas, years ago, like probably 100 years ago, or maybe not, many years ago, they used to experience the same thing. And I was surprised. I didn't know that until he told me. And they imbibed like electric wire fencing and all of that. But going to because maybe not everybody has a picture of this, but what I would just simply say is that there has to be the political will to be able to tell the nomadic farmers or the cattle herders, this is personal business. And you must be able to put some money into it. You must, I mean, there are some places the government also needs to work with them to find a way to grow vegetation, all year round vegetation. Because if you look at it, with all the clashes that are happening, Nigeria is still not one of the largest beef exporter in the world. So what is the point of killing each other? At the end of the day, you are not even making all the money you're supposed to make. So I think, again, it is still going to be political will to take a decision that takes into account both the farmers in the south and the herders in the north. That's what I would just say.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah. All right. I think there's also someone. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For next, Ari Handoko, please.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. It's very great presentation. I want to ask maybe one question. Yeah, so sometimes there are still many local communities in Indonesia that are still under cultivated. So if I want, in the development of local food based on sustainable agriculture, is there anything that is most important to consider from the third dimension that you have discussed earlier, like economics, social, and ecosystem? Maybe that's my question. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that question, really. So if I get your question correctly, you are saying in those three pillars, which one is the most important? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I think they are all equally important, only that when you look at the environment, usually we are attracted to something that benefits us the most. So, for example, if what the farmers currently need is the economic aspect of that pillar, that can be the place you start with them. But you also make sure they see the other two pillars that is part of sustainable agriculture. So if, for example, they are more concerned about social, you start with that pillar with them, but you also make them see the possibility of economic and also environmental. So I would say they are all equally important, but they are not all equally important at the same time to different groups and different communities. So you start with the one that is important to that community, but over time, you introduce them to the remaining two pillars of sustainable agriculture. Thank you for that question. Yeah.
Okay. Any feedback from Ari?
No, it's all clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any question for other participants? Just enough? Okay, maybe question for me.
Okay.
Can you share more about the Indonesian case study, maybe about cocoa? Especially, maybe you can share your experience in line with your dissertation.
Ooh. Anyway, so what I did for my dissertation, my PhD, was to understand the climate smart cocoa practices as it relates to what are the determinants that are making farmers adopt or not to adopt climate smart cocoa. And so I was looking at all the cocoa producing countries in the world, but eventually I ended up with 8 countries for the first study and 5 countries for the second study. And that's where Indonesia came in. And what I observed is that across all these countries, the most adopted climate smart cocoa practice is agroforestry. And so in Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Bolivia, Colombia, the most advocated for climate smart cocoa practice is agroforestry. But what I also observed is that, again, going back to the other question, going back to the other question where the last participant asked, which one should countries focus on? Again, I discovered that countries will not focus on all the 3 pillars at the same time. For example, Cote d'Ivoire is the world's largest producer of cocoa, but Cote d'Ivoire does not produce chocolate. So you can see from there that, okay, probably they are just more into the economics of grow the cocoa and send it to the countries that buy it from them. But if we start with them with economics, we can also grow with them like, okay, you know what? If you adopt agroforestry as a climate smart cocoa practice, do you know you can grow more? Do you know you can also receive more money? And do you know in the long run, you're also protecting your environment? And so I think it's the same thing that is applicable to all the countries that are growing cocoa based on my research. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr.
Yeah, thank you.
for that inspiring and informative. Due to limited time, we are closed for question and answer sessions. And then as we close the session, I would like to say big thank you to Mr. Anjorin for sharing your knowledge and passion with us today. And
Thank you.
and we learn more how sustainable agriculture is not only about farming, it's also about education, technology, and smart distribution. And we also, from understanding soil health and agroforestry to improving market access to corporative and digital platform, we have covered a lot across. Yeah. And thank you also all participants for being part of the sessions. I hope this session gave you something new to think about, and see you and have a wonderful day. Thank you, and I return it to MC. See you, Anjurin.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. See you.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Anjurin.
Yeah, thank you
Bye.
so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay,
Thanks.
Bye.
all right. That's our main session today. Okay, I would like to thank Mr. Suhan for being moderator for this session. And let's give them a virtual and round of applause. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the end of our session today. So I would like to remind all the participants, don't forget to do the assignment that already given. And I would like to remind that next week, for the next week agenda, is an asynchronous class by Mr. Joko Mariano, PhD, on 17th of July. Don't forget to come. And yeah, don't forget to join. And yeah, I think that's all. I hope that today's session will give you more insight about agriculture and everything. Okay, thank you so much. See you in the next program. Stay curious and stay connected. Bye, everyone.